Should we turn off the lights?
No, I don't think the light should be turned off.
No, but we're talking about the letters. Don't we have to have like...
No, it's fine. You know, it's not a requirement.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay. Now? Or not now. Okay. So, what is it that makes us human? I personally believe that the main thing that separates us from being animals is our ability to feel empathy, the capacity to place ourselves in someone else's shoes, to want to go incredible lengths just to help or see a person smile. This attitude can be referred to in sociology as either prosocial behavior or altruism. However, there is quite a large difference between the two. Prosocial behaviors are acts of giving. All prosocial behaviors expect something in return. To clarify, expecting something in return might not necessarily have to be something physical, but could simply be feelings such as gratefulness, satisfaction, or even just happiness. On the other hand, altruism is also a form of giving that expects absolutely nothing in return. So, in other words, the altruist is 100% selfless, while the prosocialist isn't. This could mean two things. Either altruism exists or it doesn't. Stephen Post, director of the Center for Medical Humanities, states that being nice to others triggers several happiness chemicals in the brain, such as dopamine, endorphins, and oxytocin. It is interesting to see the correlation that is usually put upon the use of drugs and dopamine. And so in some way, could we state that altruism is a sort of drug? This research shows that whenever we are being selfless, we are really being selfless, because even if our brain unconsciously believes that what we are doing to help the situation or the person will only benefit them, it really doesn't, because of the chemicals that then get developed in our brains. On the other hand, we can also argue that altruism does exist. Let's use an example. A man is walking down the side of a river on a relaxing Sunday in a national park with his family. All of a sudden, he hears the sounds of a screaming 5-year-old boy getting washed up into the river, diving into the distant rapids. So what does the man do? Does the man jump into the water to save the life of a kid he doesn't even know, or would he just let the kid die? So the man jumps into the water, grabs a hold of the kid, tosses him over the riverbank to his screaming father, and then unfortunately gets caught up into the current and dies suffocated in the rapids. This man's name was Victor Mosqueda. He was 22 years old at the time of his at the time of his death last year. What many people don't know, though, is that Victor couldn't swim. So my question is, what brought Victor wanting to jump into the water to save the life of a kid he had never even met, knowing that the probabilities of him dying were high because he couldn't swim? Altruism. Natural and instinctive altruism. If you analyze the situation up close, you realize that Victor only had fractions of a second to think about whether he was going to jump in or just watch him die. I personally believe it's impossible for a human being to reflect and make such rational decisions in such a short frame of time. So could it be realistic to state that altruism can only be real when we don't have the privilege of having the time to think everything through? When I was 16, I discovered I was not an altruist, or at least I didn't believe in altruism. I was hospitalized for 5 months here in Milan, and it was tough, especially when I was dismissed, because I had a lot of free time on my hands not being able to come back to school. And as you all know, having too much free time can often be dangerous. So I decided to start volunteering in an NGO's office here in Milan for 3 months. After that, I went with them to Haiti. And after that, I started traveling in between continents, even with ASM, to volunteer and help out. I tried different kinds of volunteering with kids, animals, construction, and even environmental conservation. The point is, when I came back from all these trips, I found something I had been looking for a long time: myself. I know it sounds cliche, but sometimes I think volunteering helped me, it cured me, and even saved me. This is me. And so focusing on others rather than only on myself was what sort of reset me, which is why I personally believe altruism doesn't exist, because what I've done to help others has truly helped them more than it has truly helped me, I'm sorry, more than it has helped them. Unfortunately, our world is only now starting to open its eyes and to see the importance of humanity and human rights. But however, it doesn't really matter whether what we do to help comes from a prosocial or altruistic background. What matters is that we keep on doing it, no matter the intention. Think about it. If a repetition of a behavior can become a way of life, then if we all practice prosocial behaviors, we might one day truly become altruists. Thank you.